I think we've been warning guys about this kind of thing forever. Like we always had some sense that like it's bigger than just learning a technique, or maybe at the very beginning when we were just trying to dabble with it, saying, oh, maybe this is just the answer with this technique. But pretty soon after that, I'd come from a meditation background. You've always been a seeker of truth. You've always been trying to figure out life, and I think that came from having such like pain in your youth that you were trying to process through comedy and travel and all sorts of things. But that from the beginning, that's why I called my company The Natural Lifestyles. Was I was looking at, okay, what are the holistic things that make a man attractive? And I didn't know the complete answer back then, but I certainly knew that, like, okay, being able to meditate, having something in your life other than this, and not trying to pretend to be someone you're not when doing the seduction, was going to be better overall for you. And I could certainly see, and we've been around a lot of very bizarre characters over the years, from the days when you used to hang out with Mystery through to fucking pick-up conferences we used to go to all the weirdos that came and fucking tried to get inside our lives. That learning seduction can certainly lead you down a path of twisting you into a very bizarre caricature of yourself, to create further layers and masks and bullshit. And to set you on a path where you have to, because some guys get kind of good at that. They can actually succeed in the sense they can hustle girls into bed whilst wearing masks, but then they need to just maintain, because the glue keeps slipping. They have to keep reapplying this bullshit, weird representation of what they think should be attractive in order to, I don't know, trick drunk girls into thinking they're cool for one night, which eventually you can't. I mean, the only person that can maintain that is someone who's sociopathic, or someone who is so.
But even why try and maintain? I mean, just the absurdity of it, James. To fake it, to try and be some dude that to trick some woman into having sex with you for one night. It's so empty and yucky, and oh my God, it's horrible. It's horrible what men are doing to themselves. You know, destroying their integrity, moving further and further away from their truth, their authenticity, just to have a sexual experience with a woman who they perceive to be this.
For those 1.5 minutes.
That's right, exactly. For those 34 seconds of bliss, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys like us who've had a lot of practice, we're talking like 3 minutes.
3 minutes,
you know,
tops.
I mean, that's where you're. That's all she needs.
That's oh, it's funny.
Yeah, but again, it's like I also don't. I'm really wary of holding judgment of people in general, but particularly you and I understand the pain and the kind of lack of affection and faith that a lot of men that work with us have had, coming from broken families or coming from situations where they've just been ignored their entire life because they're techie nerdy guys, or because they're not the hottest guys, or whatever. You know, the things that men can be just invisible their entire lives, and they can slip through cracks for decades, or even in fairly good case scenarios with just normal guys that are good looking or average looking and whatever, that they can go for a year without a woman touching them, or they can have these situations where over and over again a girl is sort of in their orbit and then that slips through their fingers. And so I'm very sympathetic to that situation, and I understand that a big part of what they have to do is that they need to come to terms with themselves, but they also need to go out and understand how does the kind of the science of the way human beings interact operate, and that's going to involve to some degree operating in a robotic way or operating in a contrived way, because they have to try on new behaviors. You know, they have to try speaking with a louder voice if they've never done that. They have to try holding eye contact if they've never done that before. Things that will be unnatural to them, that will be unnatural to them in the sense that it's not the way they've done things, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that they're forcing themselves to be some totally different character. So there is a fine line where it's like, okay, be yourself is good advice and really bad advice, depending on how it's on the situation. Because if you've got a guy whose the being self the one that he experiences is covered over with all this fear and reactivity and disassociation and resentment and all these other things, that is himself on one level, and that's not the self that's going to be the one that's going to help attract women. And so he needs to allow himself to be something other than that, to see what else he could be, and to let to help or to let aspects of himself dissolve or die or change, so that gets closer to uncovering what is his true power.